Good evening, guys. I hope you're doing really well. This is going to be a short and sharp training around how to use Myfitnesspal and potentially some of the pitfalls that can sometimes occur with using it. I'm going to try and keep this super actionable, short and sharp. I've even got myself a little bit of a timer here to keep it efficient. So I know everyone's time is very precious. So we'll get right into things. And first of all, guys, I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of what I'm going to be covering. So number one, we're going to cover setting up your account. Secondly, we're going to cover how to log foods. Thirdly, we're going to talk about common pitfalls to watch out for. Fourthly, how to get the most from the app. All right, so let's get right into things. So I have shared my iPhone screen, and this is how your Myfitnesspal app is going to look. So what we'll tackle first is setting up your account. So let's dive right into that now. And I'm going to go into my settings. And as you can see, guys, you'll have your profile here. I already have an account and I've already set things up, but I should be able to give you an overview and a general gist of how things work with regard to setting up your account. Okay, so I'm going to go to my profile. No, not profile. I'm going to go to goals. I'm going to go to my goals. So let's say, guys, the goal is 88 kilograms. I'm currently 91 kilograms. Let's say the goal is 88 kilograms. You would put your, updating weekly goals. So let's say current weight is 91 kilograms, as I've just mentioned. So I'd pop that in. And then the goal weight, like I said, I'm going to update this. And let's say it's, let's say the goal is 86. Now, guys, this is going to give you a rough framework stroke target. As per any app or any testing or any sort of process you're going to use, there's going to be margin of error. So it's not going to give you exact time frames of when you might achieve a goal, but it's good to have something there, all right, I would say. But I wouldn't hyper focus on that timeline it gives you in terms of, okay, follow these calories, you're going to take you to this weight and this time. Human body isn't exactly like that. There will be nuances to it, so don't hyper focus on that too much. Going to bring myself a little bit more central. So I'm going to pop that in there. So that is set. So I've set my goal at my goal weight of 86 kilograms. Now, in terms of a weekly goal, I'm going to set that for myself now. So, I want to keep this, fairly moderate. I don't want to be, going too dramatic. So I'm going to give myself a goal of 0.5 kilograms per week. There may be instances where that can be faster, and that's obviously highly going to depend on everyone's individual circumstances. But I'm going to give myself that goal. Now, in terms of my activity level, I'm going to update this now. So if you sit at home and you don't generally... By the way, guys, when you're updating this, I would update it on what you do currently, not what you're going to be doing when you're working with me, all right? Or a new process. I would do it where you're at right today before starting a new journey, because that's going to be the most up-to-date and most accurate. So for myself, I would class myself as active. And to give you guys a heads up of what each one means, I would say not very active is going to be sedentary job, barely get out for a walk, all right? Lightly active, I would say, would be, still probably a fairly sedentary job, but you get out for some general walks across the day, and you might sort of train once or twice a week, all right? Active would be, out for walks every day, training a few times across the week. Maybe you get involved with some hobbies at the weekend, and then very active is going to be, training every single day, sports, maybe construction job, that side of things, all right, to give you some general overviews. So I'm going to give myself I'm going to give myself a title of active. It might have been very active when I used to work on the gym floor, but now, since transitioning, I would say I'm active. I still ensure that I'm active. So we've now got that in place. And next up, we want to set ourselves up with some nutrition goals, right? So we've got calories, carbs, proteins, and fats. So if we go to that, and we can see we've got some goals there. Now, what you guys can do, and I've already got this pre-set up, is line this up with your Google Drive check-in sheet targets. So let's say we can look at Mr. Matt Danes here, for an example. He's got a goal of 1,600. So all that you would need to do then is alter that to 1,600, for example. All right. Okay. Now he's got a target of, Matt's got a target of 180 grams protein, fats 45, and 120 carbs. So let's see how that works now. So as a heads up, guys, you can change this to percentage or grams. So if we're going grams, I would go grams. All right. So that's updating there now for us. Your meal goals. We've updated your meal goals to fit your new daily goals. Okay. Now I'm going to shoot for as close as I can to the protein goal that we've set. So that is 180. So let's shoot for that now. 180. Now in terms of the carb goal, that is 120. So we'll shoot for that. There that is. And then the fat goal is 45. And we'll shoot for that now. So I'm going to press tick on that, and hopefully we're somewhere close. As you see, that's 1605, which is very, very close to the target. Bang on. That is more than close enough, guys. You're probably never going to get it bang on, but that is more than close enough, right? Now, from there, we can set a daily goal. So the daily goal is, I would just keep it that. In terms of any nuances, there may be situations where we do a bit of a, higher, lower day setup, depending if you're, you might want to set your nutrition up like that. Let's say if you've got a training day nutrition, non-training day nutrition. But for the purposes of this, guys, I'd probably just keep this level and very simple. You don't want to complicate things, right? So I'd keep that as is. So that's now set there. Now, you can also set calorie goals by meals. If you want to get more specific, guys, you can actually set about making each meal specific in terms of calories. All right, so you've got that ability to do that there as well. As you can see, you've got brunch, dinner, meal free, and snacks, as I've got per my meal planner. And by the way, guys, I have got the premium feature, which, by the way, is not very expensive for across the year. It might be about £30 to £40 for the whole year. I'd highly recommend investing in that if you're able to. All right, so again, you can edit that, guys. You can either go with calories or percentages, but I would probably go calories. All right. So coming out of that now, we can also play around with whether we want to see the show carbs, proteins, and fats. So we can either have that showing or not. We can also play around with things like workouts in the week, minutes per workout, and exercise calories. Guys, if you want my opinion on this, I would leave that section out. I would literally use Myfitnesspal to track your nutrition, because you can get into a bit of trouble if you start trying to eat your calories back based off how much activity you've done. You can get a little bit, all over the gaff. So I'd actually leave that section out and just focus on the nutrition side of things. Okay, coming out of that, what we can also do, guys, is go into nutrition. And we can see, as you can see now, we've got the goals set up there for us, guys. Now, when you input your foods, it's going to come in the total section. So when it comes to check-in day and you're updating your spreadsheet here, you're going to go off this information. So let's say it's Monday. You would simply go to Monday and you would upload your calories for the day, which is obviously here. So if I scroll to that now, you'll see calories. Obviously, there's none there, so I'm not uploading anything. You'll see nutrients, so you'll see your protein and your carbohydrates and your fat. They're the three that we're going to concentrate on for these purposes. And you always focus on the total, and then obviously the goal will show you where you are in terms of your targets, whether you're under, whether you're over, or whether you're roundabouts, okay? Now, let's come out of that. So we've gone through nutrition. Now, in terms of your meals, what you can also do, guys, if you want to save yourself some time, is you can actually create meals. So once you've got into a few days worth of tracking, you can actually go into your meal planner, and let me show you how this looks, and create meals. So let's look at a day that I had yesterday. So if I wanted to create a meal out of this meal free, all I would do is I would press the three dots, and I would go to save as a meal. And then I would name that meal, so that then it's less nonsense and finger tapping, basically, if you know that's a meal that you have regularly. Now, obviously, I'm pretty sure what you can do, guys, is if, let's say, you do that, you can then go in and edit that if there's any changes to it, just so you know. All right. So that's a cool little feature there for you. Coming back into it, what else have we got that's worth discussing? This section here, friends. So guys, as you'll see, I've got all of you guys and girls within my Myfitnesspal. So if you haven't added me as yet, my username is Taurean _ trainer. So just to show you how that looks very quickly, Taurean _ trainer. Now, if you add my username under that handle, I'll get a friend request from you. Then from time to time, I can help you out with potential little audits on your Myfitnesspal and give you some assistance there. So I'd highly recommend doing that. In order for us to be friends and me be able to potentially be able to view your profile at times, you will need to alter your diary settings. So if you go to settings and you go to diary settings, I believe it is, diary sharing, and then you just pop it on either public or friends only. Yeah, either of those. If you just want me to see it and no one else, it'd be friends only. If you're not bothered about who else sees it, it would be public. Okay. Now, there are other cool little bits. So, like with any app, guys, it's probably worth having a little sort of snoop around and seeing what other features there are. There's things like recipes in here, which are pretty cool, and other little bits and bobs. But we're obviously covering the basics today. Is there anything else that I would talk about with regard to you guys? I think, right, so the only other thing I would say, guys, is there is a way where you can set up the way you want your meals to look. So within my diary, you can see how I've set my day up with brunch, dinner, meal free, and snacks. Let's say you're a person who only has 3 meals a day. You're able to then, with the premium feature, you're able to then edit that and have 3 meals there, or 4 meals, or 5 meals. All right, to make that super easy for you as well. So keep that in mind. Now, right, so we've set up, we've talked about setting up your account. Probably going a little bit over, but I want to make sure this is super accurate and the only Myfitnesspal video you'll only ever need to use or refer back to, right? I'm going to try and get it done in this one video. I thought about splitting the video up, but hey, I thought maybe I would, you'd maybe watch one and maybe not watch all the others. So let's hope you've invested in this one. So how to log foods. I'm just going to update this very quickly. So real quick, guys, how to log foods. So I've got my day here. If I want to log my food, you'll see, guys, in the separate sections, you've got add food here. There's a few ways you can do this. You can do it by simply scanning the barcode. So if you go scan barcode, I've got some tomato ketchup here. I'm going to scan my barcode, and as you can see, this comes up. Now, this is quite important, guys. Let's say you have 20 grams of ketchup within your meal. You would simply do this to ensure that that's the case. So you would go into your serving size, and quite often what I'll do is I'll change it to 1 gram, for example. And then you can choose how many grams you're having of that, and you can go 20 grams. So you can add it like that. Another way you could potentially add it, okay, just to show you one more way that you could do this. So I'll scan it again. You could do it by keeping that 100 grams there, and let's say you had that 20 grams, you would simply go 0.2 of that, and that's going to be your 20 grams. And then obviously to confirm that, you can see that that 20 grams is now there for you. I'll show you one more way. So we'll scan one more time. So what is one more way we could do it? So the other way it's showing you is a preset 15 grams. So you could absolutely do that. So if you wanted just 15 grams, you go with the preset, and quite often it will give you a preset and you would add that in. More often than not, I go with a gram because you can be very, very specific with that, okay? So that's one way you can add things. Now, the second way you can add things, let's say we're trying to find that same ketchup. What you can do is you can write it in manually. So I'm going to search ketchup, okay? Now, as you can see, there are choices here for us, okay? So If I write ketchup, then I'm going to press search. Look how many choices come up, guys. This is what you need to be careful of, and this is maybe something I'll cover a little bit more, excuse me, in some of the pitfalls, okay? But basically what you want to do, guys, where possible, the barcode is a great option because it's going to give you a very accurate option. When it's not possible, you want to opt for the most accurate source. So for me, a brand is always going to be generally the most accurate. So ketchup, Heinz, tap that in there, and you're going to get a few different options. And what you should find, guys, is the most accurate options should be fairly similar to each other. If you get one that's like 100 calories for like 10 grams, you know that's very inaccurate. Okay? So that's that. Right, so we've done how to log foods with regard to barcode and with regard to manual search. Now, let's move into common pitfalls to watch out for. First one, guys, cooked versus raw weight. So if I'm adding 100 grams of cooked chicken breast, okay, and I've got this already preset, so I'm going to change that to 1. I'm going to add 100 grams there of cooked chicken breast. That's 134 calories. Now, if I search for raw chicken, 1, you can see that's less calories. It's like, 20 calories less, which over time that's really gonna add up. So actually, guys, logging accurately, 34 calories, sorry. So actually, when you log your nutrition, it's very important that you're logging accurately, whether that's raw weight or cooked weight. Another example, guys, is rice. Okay, let's give you another shining example of this. If you've got uncooked rice, let's search for that. So 100 grams of uncooked rice. And again, guys, coming back to the accuracy side of things, you could put uncooked basmati rice. Again, look at all the options, guys, and look at the ones that are closest to each other. So you can see a 355 cal there. You can see a 63 calorie there. And you can see a 351. So that is about right. That's a very good sign. That's probably accurate, okay? Bearing in mind, guys, Myfitnesspal is a public forum. There are many presets in here that are inaccurate because anyone can add to this service. This is why it's very important that we eke out the most accurate sources, right? So here we go. So 100 grams of uncooked rice is that many calories, 355. Now let's look at cooked rice. So yes, cooked rice. We'll get a bit more accurate again. So basmati cooked rice. We'll look at the presets. What have we got here? So we got right, here we go. So we got one here where my arrow is, which is 100 grams showing 137. We've got, let's look at another one here. We've got 100 grams showing 184, so a big discrepancy there. That's probably not what we want. So you got another variation here, which is saying that the 100 grams is 117. And then you've got another one here, generic 100 grams is 121. So that is probably around what we're looking at. We'll look at one more. So if you look at the bottom there, we've got the average one, which is 100 grams for 135. So we're looking at around that region, guys. For 100 grams of cooked, we're looking at about 120 grams of basmati rice. So we'll go for that. Let me choose one of these. So we'll go with this one here, okay? So guys, here we go. Can you see the difference there? 100 grams of uncooked rice is 355 calories. 100 grams of cooked rice is 137, almost 3 times less. Very important that we differentiate the difference between cooked and uncooked, and that's for most foods. Obviously, fruit, that's always going to be the same. You know, packeted foods is generally going to be the same. You generally don't cook that often. Often you won't. Veggies are going to be fairly similar quite often. But yeah, it's going to ring true for a lot of foods. You want to definitely differentiate between cooked and raw, okay? Right, I've done that to death. Let's move on. So, next up, grams versus cupfuls, guys. So, grams versus cupfuls. So, very quick example. Cup of chicken. I'll tell you what, actually, let me just search chicken. And again, let me be more specific. Cooked chicken. Again, the more specific, the better, guys. So we got 100 grams cooked chicken. We'll go with... Right, just for the purposes of this, guys, we'll go for this one here. We'll tap that in, and then let's look to see if we can find a different measurement for it. Right, so as you can see, guys, there's loads of different measurements here. So you've got ounces. So ounces is not something we generally use nowadays. So if I do 4 ounces, which actually isn't too far away from 100 grams, an ounce is 28 grams, I believe. Again, look at the differentiation, guys. 165 against 260. So again, highly recommend, where possible, measuring in grams as opposed to cups, spoons, buckets. Just try and keep it to grams because you're going to be more accurate, guys. Okay. Now, for those guys and girls who are potentially using some of the meal plans or recipes, if any of those meal plans and recipes have got measurements in either spoons, cups, or the likes, what I would highly recommend is that when tracking your nutrition, you line that up against calorie and macro goals, and you ensure that that day that you're logging is very close to these targets. And if they're not, you know that something needs to be altered with that measurement. It might be that, you know, it's saying a cup full of porridge oats, whereas that's, you know, 200 grams dry weight oats, whereas we need maybe 60 or 70, which is like, you know, 4 times the amount, for example. So that's something to keep an eye out for. If you're using any menus or recipes, we may need to alter some of the measurement units that it's giving you to ensure that it fits within the calorie goal. All right. Again, guys, hope that's making sense. So next up, where are we? Gone through the fact that Myfitnesspal is a public forum and anyone can upload measurements, so bear that in mind in terms of accuracy. Next up, calorie leaks. So calorie leaks, guys, are things such as, you know, that little bit of added butter that you put into a meal without accounting for it, that bit of milk that you add into your latte or, you know, flat white, that bite of food that you have that you forgot you'd had, that, you know, that snack of an evening after dinner that you just, you know, that doesn't exist because it's after dinner and it's in the evening. All of these things, which we all do on occasion, by the way, we need to ensure that we're being present and aware of those things, because let's say our goal is 1,700 calories, quite easily when we start adding all those little bits in, that can become 2,000 within a day. And all of a sudden, if you're doing that 300 extra calories per day, if you add that times 7, that's 2,000 calories. That's a whole day's worth of food, maybe if not more, if your target's the 1,700. It's very easy for us to do this, guys. So just becoming more aware of that. And if you have something, just log it. It's going to provide you very, very good education initially and make you more aware of your intake. All right. Okay. Right, we're getting there, guys. I promise. Only a little bit more to finish off for us. Gosh, this is a bit of a long video, but I wanted to cover it all. So, how to get the most from your nutrition. First things first, booking your nutrition in, guys, the day the night or morning before the day's food is an amazing thing to do because it does a few things. It provides you with a plan of action. It lets you know, okay, with this food today, this is what I'm going to hit with regard to my calorie target, with regard to my macro target, and really importantly, with regard to my protein target. So having a plan of what the day is going to look like before the day happens is huge. All right, so that's the first thing. Secondly, use the barcode function where possible. Very, very accurate, and it gives you the exact food source. Thirdly, weighing your food, especially it's going to provide you great education initially, guys. Probably not something you want to do forever, but within this process, if it's something you've never done, getting a really good awareness of your intake and portion sizes is one of the best things you can do to learn about what your body needs to drop body weight, maintain body weight, put on weight if you want that. It's just a really good education, okay? And then finally, guys, just to re-emphasize, adding me on Myfitnesspal. I'm happy to give you guys Myfitnesspal audits of occasion. To confirm again, my username is Taurean_the_trainer. And I'll just highlight it there, guys. It's just there for you. And more than happy to provide any assistance you guys need with regard to further education around nutrition and Myfitnesspal. Right, guys, that is it. Realise that was a bit of a long video. If you stay to the end, you're an absolute legend. Obviously, any questions off the back of this, guys, and as we work together throughout, there's probably going to be more questions that come up, and I'm always happy to come straight back and help you guys out. All right, so I hope this is helpful, and let's keep going. All right.